Hello, my fellow comic book collectors. This is going to be a really great interview. I'm joined with a fellow historian, a guy that, really who commented on one of my videos. We started chatting about stuff, and he just seems so knowledgeable about, especially about Black comics. And I always like sort of interesting comic history, like sort of the history that almost gets ignored. So I really appreciate it when I hear like somebody that knows that history, and it's really hard to find that information. So it's really great when you meet somebody that has that extra historical reference. And yeah, I'm going to, stay tuned. I'm going to invite him in here. One sec here. Black Key Comics. Okay, one sec here. I gotta add you to the stream. Let's do the shoot. So this is what I always find. It's always interesting when I do it on my cell phone. I'm always clicking and all this just to get my guest in. So thank you, Black Key Comics, for coming today. Wow, doing this on my cell phone. I'm such a goof.
Yeah,
okay,
these phones can be complicated, but thanks for having me. I really appreciate you having me on the show.
Yeah. So I think we were talking. We sort of met because of the Red Mask.
Red Mask.
That was when you first sort of engaged with me.
Right.
So okay, just quickly, I'm just going to tell the story, and then people will know it, and then you can add to the story.
Yeah.
So I've been doing this interview series for a while now, and one of my guests was Stray Flexing. Really awesome guy with crazy books. And he showed a book, America Best Comics, I believe it is.
Best Comics #1.
Best Comics #1, yeah. And it was a kind of a cool book. And he said that it was the first Black superhero in comics. And so I was like, oh, that's really cool. I always thought, and I said, I always thought Lobo was the first. and so he was like, no, this one's earlier. So then we did that interview, and then I get a comment. Like I always do on my videos, people comment and they're like, oh, you said the whole wrong thing. And that's how I met Black Key Comics. So correct the record. What is Red Mask?
So first of all, Stray Flex, as you said, is a great guy. He and I actually have had conversations in the past. We've had many discussions, and similar to you and I, he really respects the history of comics. He's a very respectable collector. He and I have had conversations, so it wasn't intended to say, hey, you're wrong. It was really just to make sure we correct something that I feel as though just needed to be corrected. The issue. I think the biggest problem with Best Comics #1, in particular the character Red Mask, is that there's a lot of ambiguity with this particular character. Most importantly is that, and I'll even go further, one of the biggest problems is that most people have never read the book.
Yeah.
Because
how do you read it?
There you go. If you find it, it's usually already graded. And so you're basing your knowledge on the cover.
Yeah.
And that's it, without even reading it. So I've had the pleasure of reading the book because I've had a friend of mine that owns it, and I've actually read the book because I was actually, when I first started really digging deep into historically Black books that had significant history, this was a book that was always, noted as being a historically Black comic. So I was in search of this book. Well, when I read the book, I was like, this book isn't what I thought it was.
Yeah. Well, you sent me the panels. I
sent you the panels.
Yeah, right, I was like, oh wow, this is very different.
So basically, he's a complex character. So actually, he's actually race swapped in the actual book. And what I mean by race swap, maybe that's the wrong word. He's actually color swapped in the actual book. I don't want to say race swap. Well, you can technically say that because he's really from an island called Kokura, which is a real island. First Polynesian island. So if you read the book, it tells you he's sitting down having a conversation with a young lady, and she's actually addressing where he's from. He's a prince from a French Polynesian island. Now, the beautiful thing about this particular story is that if you can actually study this location, it's a real place that actually exists.
Yeah, I Googled it after you told me it.
Right.
Yeah.
I think you froze for a quick second. Let me make
okay.
sure you.
So, yeah, I'm still here. It's
I
recorded.
have no idea what happened, but
okay, so you're mentioning that he was from the island of Krakoa, right?
Yeah,
Krakoa.
right. Which is French, which is French Polynesian.
Mm-hmm.
Now, one of the things I wanted to make sure I shared when I posted this is to make sure people understand that I understand the complex nature as relates to the pigmentation, the various pigmentation of people in that particular island. But it's no different than if you go to Cuba or Dominican Republic, even Mexico.
Yeah, people can be darker, lighter.
Right. So I don't know, maybe the author maybe visited that place when on vacation, maybe he had the opportunity to visit some amazing people. Maybe that inspired him. I'm not sure to write it. But the biggest problem is the cover. And the cover is basically silhouetted. If you notice the cover, it's a silhouette. It's not actually any detailed figure of the character. It's almost like an actual black silhouette. And so what happens is when you read the book, that's when you understand exactly where the character's from. He goes into him being a person that was kind of like an outcast from his island. So it goes into all the details. So I just thought it was important because when you're studying historical books and you want to kind of put books in the right historical place in history, the wrong information pushes down books that should be
that are actually more significant.
Right, they're more significant. So, but the beautiful thing is it gives us an opportunity to be able to respect and appreciate the fact that maybe there's some kid who's French Polynesian who probably love to say like, wow, I didn't know we had a comic book. You know what I mean? I didn't know that there was a hero or some sort that was. But look, let's look at Matt Baker.
Yeah,
Matt Baker is a prime example of being one of the most sought after artists. Yeah, and being a black. Watch this. One of my favorite artists during that era was a guy named A.C. Hollingsworth. Okay. Matter of fact, A.C. Hollingsworth. Yeah. Oh, A.C. Hollingsworth is an amazing artist. So
okay, send me that in Instagram and I'll check them out.
A.C. Hollingsworth, well, watch this. During that time, many black artists like A.C. Hollingsworth and others would write under pen names. A.C. is also known as Alvin Hollingsworth, A.C. Hollingsworth, but he also drew artwork under Alec Hope. Okay. And so, but watch this though. They would do that because it was difficult for them to get work. But watch this. Yeah. Matt Baker was getting work over white artists because of his merit, because he was outdrawing everyone else in his class. He wasn't getting the work because he was black. He was getting the work because he was amazing. He was exceptional. And people want. Do you realize if you look at some of those Canteen Kate comics, I have some.
I got all three. I just picked up the third one. I was super happy about it.
Matt Baker's name is on the front of the book. How many artists would have their name?
Not in the golden age. That was super rare.
Unheard of.
Yeah.
But the book wanted that. They were like, yeah, Matt Baker, put your name on the book.
Even at that time.
Yeah. So Matt Baker, one of the things I love about Matt Baker is that he proved that off of his merit and his talent. Yes, it may be difficult. It's not going to be easy. Yeah. But you can be extremely successful just off your merit. And watch this. Matt Baker, unlike some of the earlier black artists who was writing under pen names because they couldn't get work, later in Matt Baker's career, when he wanted to be anonymous, he was writing under pen names like Kurt Davis and Matt Pecorino. So he was writing under different names. He's like, I don't want the notoriety anymore. I don't want people to know I'm working on this book. It just shows you that what you can do just off your merit. Even as a black person during some of the most difficult times, he found a way to be one of the most sought after artists. So this stuff that today in 2023, when we have access to everything, you can build a business on in a day, literally, on just online.
I know. I mean, that's what I do for a living, right? I think this is like one of the best, like times to be alive in terms of
Oh man,
ability to, like, yeah, as you said, just build a business in a day.
in a day.
And you know, there, if it wasn't for the culture, the culture's like such a mess right now. It just drives me crazy. You know, it's frustrating.
Yeah, it is. It is. It is.
Um,
It is. I didn't know we were gonna have this conversation, but it's
yeah,
been great.
it's
I
cool.
love it. This been,
Yeah,
this
it's
been
cool.
great.
It's cool.
This
So
been
yeah,
great
we're
but I'm
gonna
gonna
have
send
to.
you AC Hollingsworth. AC Hollingsworth. Matter of fact, AC Hollingsworth actually worked on some books with Matt Baker. Matter of fact, one of my favorite Matt Baker books is an all top. Is it all top 20? Which book is it? It's when
If
all
you,
top, hold on, I can tell you exactly what it is. I love it's one of my favorite books in my collection.
I have a bunch of the all tops. Is it?
Oh, I'm pretty sure you have them all.
But you know, Jack Kamen did a lot of the covers.
He did a lot of the covers, but
Yeah.
but the inside work. Matt
Okay.
Baker worked. Matt Baker did a lot
Yeah,
of
no.
work on the inside.
So the thing
Right.
is, like, whenever like Fox would say, "Hey, we're gonna get some sexy girls on the cover," it was either Matt Baker or Jack Kamen.
Yeah,
It's the two guys.
yeah. I don't know how true this is. I want to do more research. I've even heard that some historians have said that you can even look at even some Matt Baker covers and even look at some Kamen covers.
There's
And
a
you
lot
can
of
see the you see the influence that each, and some even have said that they believe that they collaborated on covers, but one may have taken the
I think
the
so.
lead.
I really do believe that.
Yeah,
and Al
one may-
Felstein too, kind of mixed in there as well.
Yeah, you can see a lot of the similar influence, but
Yeah.
a lot. Yeah, so you see, but
So
it's
even
amazing.
even if you look at, like, I just bought it actually like 2 days ago. Phantom Lady 17.
Oh, so you guys, I watched your video, recent video.
I
You
was
said
going
it
on
was
about how I
great.
really wanted that book.
That was quick. Wow.
So I'm paying
Congratulations.
it in installments. It's going to be like 6-7 months from now. But
But still, dude, that's
it's a big book. It's a
that's
big
on my
book.
list. I have 18. I have Phantom Lady 18.
Okay, that's a nice book too.
It's a great book. It's a great book.
But 17.
But 17 is the one you want.
I've heard, and this is, like, you know, not to disparage Matt Baker, but I've heard that it's Al Felstein, Matt Baker. Because if you look at the headlights, you know, that sounds like a weird thing. It's kind of more Felstein-like.
Got you.
And some of the woman, her head looks more Matt Baker style. So there's certain elements that are kind of, and at that time they were all kind of working together. They were all working
together.
Yeah. So it's kind of interesting. Like, I actually think, you know, Matt Baker's romance stuff is better. You know, like, I think,
I love his romance stuff.
he really, like, the thing that I always found with Matt Baker is there's a certain whimsy and certain, like, he kind of captures, like, I don't know, almost like a moment, like a flow, like some kind of thing that a lot of artists, it almost looks like something static versus something with flow.
Yeah,
it's different. It's very different.
You see that in a lot of his Diary Secrets books. You see that in some of his, and you know, even when you say whimsical, you see that in Cinderella Love.
Yes, that's why I was thinking Cinderella Love. When I said that.
You're right. There's a whimsical aspect to it,
and it looks like, you know, you could almost feel like the confetti still falling. You know what I mean? Like that kind of, you caught it at that moment, and not. I mean, like,
Matt has covers that I've seen that could be on covers today. You know,
well, I would actually Don't insult him. Don't insult him.
No.
Covers today suck.
What I mean is they look so good.
Yeah, no. I mean, but my point is the covers nowadays suck.
Yeah,
Matt Baker's too good for that. Too good for that.
Yeah. But I have Matt Baker covers that I show to people that's not really in the comics. They don't really know how old it is.
Yeah.
You know, now there are some they can look at and tell.
And you can see the time period. Yeah,
you can see the time period. You can tell it's pretty old and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But nah, man, like that Matt Baker's one of my favorite artists.
Yeah, he's in my, as I said, top three.
Yeah.
LB Cole, Schomburg, and Matt Baker.
Those would be the three. I think those would be the three. Yeah. I know Matt is really into LB Cole a lot. He loves LB Cole. He has a lot of LB Cole, but he likes Baker too.
Yeah.
He's into LB Cole. I haven't really got into a lot of LB Cole stuff. I've been really just focused on Baker, Hollingsworth, and a few others. But I love LB Cole. I love his colors.
The reason I like LB Cole and the three of them actually is you can sort of say, without, if you had like 1,000 books and then they're just like mixed in, you could sort of pull them out and say,
and yeah, that's
and because they stand out,
especially LB Cole, especially with those colors.
Yeah, with the colors. Yeah, LB Cole is like a bright light shining upon it. It's really obvious.
He's kind of like, mind you, Steranko a little bit. You can look at a Steranko cover and say,
Steranko.
Yeah, exactly.
And I feel like that, especially during the golden age, not as much nowadays. Everyone's trying to do their own style nowadays. But back then, you were encouraged to be formulaic. You were encouraged to be, a production. It was a production. It was not. Mm-hmm. It wasn't about being creative and being an artist. You're producing.
That's right.
But they were able to do that. Like, I mean, they produced, like Matt Baker produced a crap load of stuff.
in a short period of time.
In a short period of time. He didn't live very long. And, but every piece is like, has his touch to it and has that kind of, you can say, oh, wow, that's something special. And that to me says something,
Absolutely.
So I love artists that have that ability, and there's not that many artists that have that.
No,
even nowadays, like where they are taught to be creative, they kind of blend into each other. Sometimes they kind of look similar. Like it's like, oh.
I made a joke, but I think there's a case for it. I think the most, I think the artist today, in my opinion, most people might laugh, but I think it's true, that has found a way to differentiate himself more than anyone is probably Scotty Young. If you really think about it.
Yeah. I like Scotty Young.
And I know people may say, but it's cartoony. But
I like him and Bruce Timm.
Yeah, and Bruce Timm. I have a lot of, matter of fact, I have some very rare Luke Cage Bruce Timm books, which is
he did Luke Cage, really?
Oh yeah, Bruce Timm did some Luke Cage variant covers that are amazing.
Oh really? I've never I always think when I think Bruce Timm, I think of Harley.
Matter of fact, I think I have one on my IG page. Hold on, let me make sure.
Bruce Timm did Luke Cage? That just sounds so weird. Sorry, but
yeah. If you go to my IG page, you'll see a
Luke Cage that's done by
it's a cover. It's a 1 in 25 variant that he did. Bruce Timm did.
Wow.
Yeah. It's very dope. It's a very beautiful. It's an amazing. It's rare.
I always associate so the reason I wouldn't think he would do Luke Cage is I associate Bruce Timm more with the ladies.
Oh yeah, but if you look at that cover, you'll see the ladies. It's very, very black exploitation like.
Really?
The woman on the cover kind of has a Foxy Brown.
Oh, that'd be so cool. I love Foxy Brown, by the way.
Yeah, type look to it. Oh yeah, if you look at the cover, it's totally Bruce Timm.
I'm also a movie buff, just so you know. I love movies. I love the black exploitation movies. I just think they're just so over the top and great. They're just
that's why this is one of my favorites.
I just picked that up too.
Yeah,
but mine's not that great. Oh my god, that's a 9.4. That's awesome.
It's also a pedigree 9.4.
Oh wow,
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Matt has a copy of that.
Yeah, Matt has a copy of it. Yeah. This is one of my favorite. Matter of fact,
Matt was the one that told me about that book, so I've been chasing it ever since. But I just recently picked it up at Heritage maybe a month ago.
Great book.
It's on its way to me now.
She's actually the first black
female
woman to have her own title comic.
Yeah. And you have Butterfly, right?
Butterfly. Matter of fact, I brought that one out too this year. That's one of my favorite books. I probably have about hold on, let me show it. It's a 9.2. This one.
Nice.
But I have a bunch of copies of these. She's the first black female superhero in comics.
Yeah.
So if you do I don't really do the qualifiers a lot, but I think when you're in the comic community, it's important to distinguish superheroes.
Because a lot of people will say Storm and stuff like that.
Right. Oh no. Actually, I'll even show you this character. Are you familiar with Jill Gerard?
Sounds familiar, but not sure.
Are you familiar with this book, Millie the Model?
Oh yeah, of course.
Jill Gerard is in this book. She's the first black Marvel character to have female character to have a recurring role in Marvel Comics.
Oh wow.
Amazing character. They even rebooted her to a modern rendition, but this is and she's beautiful in this book. She looks like Lena Horne in the book. I mean, she is stunning. No, Jill Gerard so she predates Storm.
So that's, I mean, that's like that. That's really early then. If Millie Molly is like 40s, 50s, right? So
yeah, yeah. Millie the Model came out. This particular book. When did this book come out? I can tell you exactly when this one came out.
it looks like It looks like postcode. So
yeah, this one came out in 1966.
66. Okay, so
yeah, this is 1966 right here.
But that's her first appearance.
First appearance, Georgia Rod. Her first.
Okay,
appearance.
Again, I gotta go find that book. Okay.
Yeah,
another book that I have to get it.
You will love this book. It's Millie Model 141. Hold on, 141.
Yeah, a lot of those Millie the models have really great good girl art.
Oh,
I'm a big.
Matter of fact, there's another book I have with her in it. This is one of her. This is not her first appearance. The one I showed you, the first.
Does she have a first cover as well?
Yeah, this is her first cover. This one here.
Oh, okay.
This is not you see her in the.
Wait. Go that. Yeah.
You kind of see it.
Wait, I'm gonna make you big. I can't see you. Okay, one sec here. So there you go.
You kind of see it. How you get the glare out. You see it in the corner.
Oh, in the corner. Yeah. Oh, to go that way. Yep. Oh, that's cool. And what year is that?
This one, I think, is, matter of fact, let me pull this one out. This one came out a little later. I think it's still 60s. But this is a great, and she was written so well. Believe it or not, the first issue when you read about her, the way she's introduced, she's like at this party, and when I tell you, she just looks absolutely gorgeous the way they drew her. This is 1966 too, so same year.
Okay, so very soon after she got her first cover then.
Yep, she had the same cover right after. Yep.
So wow. Okay, so generally what I like to do is always get I'm a very first appearance kind of collector.
That's how I am.
Yeah, I like getting the first appearance and first cover if I can get
that. I'm the same way. Out of all my books, a lot of people always ask me, do you only collect more African American or more Black history related books?
Yeah.
And that's a big part of my collection.
Yeah.
But I have to sometimes remind them I'm a comic book collector in general.
Yeah.
I mean, I have a Daredevil one. Daredevil one of my top 5 favorite characters.
Okay.
I have an amazing Daredevil collection. Hulk. I have pretty much all his big books except for #1, of course. But I have a beautiful gray copy of Hulk 2, First Green Hulk. So I'm a comic book guy first. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I love comics. But this is just a rabbit hole I found myself going down when I just started learning more about.
It's a cool rabbit hole. Actually.
Right. So
I mean, I went down the same rabbit hole. I mean, I love history, and so that's why I picked up Lobo. That's why I picked up Friday Foster. That's why I go after and Crown Comics 3. I have the highest graded copy of it.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, I have a Promise Collection pedigree version of it. Do
you have I'm pretty sure you have this one. Do you have this one?
Oh, is that Jumbo 69?
Yes.
Okay. So right now I'm poor because I spent all my money on this stupid Heritage auction. So the next day, there was actually almost the same day, but somebody, I think it's Harim. Do you know Harim Collectibles on IG?
Okay, I'm not familiar with him.
Yeah, he has great stuff. He has a lot of Golden Age stuff. So he had that book in a claim sale. I was like, oh, I want to claim it. But I'm broke. I spent all my money for the next 6 months. So I basically said, I even though I didn't have the money, I was like, I'm gonna claim it anyways. So I claimed it for $600.
Oh wow, that's a great price.
Well, he actually wanted 800. I always try to get it.
Yeah.
Okay, so my point is, he didn't see my claim or my offer, I should say. So I was debating, should I write him again later? Because I really do want that book.
Right.
That's one of my key books that I'm going after. I have a want list, a very short want list, and that's one of the books on it. But yeah, no, that's a great book to have.
Yeah, this I got a funny story too about this book. So there's a friend of mine, he also collects similar the way I do. We go after a lot of Black history related books. And this book was on eBay auction. So there are certain books, I'm just gonna be transparent, I know I'm gonna win. I'm just gonna be honest with you. Or
you'll go all.
I'm gonna win the book. I'm
Yeah,
not.
yeah.
No one. If somebody beats me, they deserved it. They earned it.
Yeah.
They earned it. So, but he's the only other guy that I know will outbid me, and vice versa. So sometimes he'll reach out to me and say, "Hey, man, I don't know if you're bidding on this book. I really want this book." So I'm like, "Look, don't worry about it. I'll So this book, it was a raw copy, and it wasn't really in great condition, but I wanted the book.
4.0 is good.
No, I bought this one later, but before I bought this one, there was a raw copy, and I was like, okay, I was like, don't worry, I'm gonna win the book. So he's like, cool, I'm not gonna bid. So I ended up losing the book. I'm like, how did I lose this book?
Oh wow.
He bid it.
What a jerk.
I was so mad at him. And then he comes up with this lame excuse like, well, I didn't really know if you were that serious. I'm like, dude, we're always serious. Like, I literally didn't bid on a Negro romance book because he begged me not to. And he ended up winning that book for less than $1,000 on a Comic Connect auction.
Yeah, I mean that's
I would have paid $2,000 for that book. He wanted it for less than $1,000.
Yeah.
So I'm always like leaning back, and then he's like, "I'm sorry, I'll send it to you." I'm like, "Man, just keep the book. Don't worry about it." And luckily, I was so fortunate. Less than a week later, this book pops up on Comic Link.
Okay.
And I was like, "I'm winning this book. I'm not going to lose this book." And I ended up actually getting a pretty good price for the book, believe it or not. So it's a 4, but it presents
really well.
Oh, it presents beautifully. It's a beautiful book. So I was actually more excited to have this one. So it worked out perfect than the actual raw copy. So I didn't get upset, but that made me upset. I was like,
well, that's one of my fears with my comic channel, that I'm creating my own competition.
Oh, you are absolutely 100%.
Yeah, I'm
I'm just look.
So what I'll do is like I lately I've been kind of changing my way. I only kind of promote books after I've already gotten them.
You should know. So one thing, I get a lot of DMs. People, and I love it. People ask me a lot of questions. I've heard about this book. And then they may find books. Like what I like when people find books and they send me, say, hey, can you give me some information on this book? Do you know anything about this book? Sometimes maybe use these books I've heard about and I can give them information. Sometimes like, no, let me look into it and see if I can help you out. But one of the things a lot of people will tell me is that I'm bidding on a book that I know you probably have. Please don't post this book. Please don't talk about this book, because what happens is a lot of times people will say when I post a book, the book was on auction at eBay or somewhere.
Yeah, and they're going
to. And it was like all of a sudden the price immediately starts going up.
And you don't need many people. You just need 2 or 3 people.
You just need 2 or 3 people,
and it creates the price.
So what I try to do now is, I want to share as much as possible. A lot of times, there was one book I literally waited 3 months to post because a friend of mine, close to me, he's like, man, just give me 3 months, please. Try and find this book. I was like, look, if you find it, you may not find this book in 3 years. No, let's 3 months. But I said, but I'll give you 3 months. And he couldn't find it. It's a ghost. But I was like, but you're right. You're definitely creating competition.
Well, what I did find though was last year I did my top 10 books I wanted to get for 2023, or 2022, I should say. And then actually from me putting it out there, people contacted me saying, hey, I have a couple of the books on your list, and they actually offered to sell them to me.
That's a great.
So that kind of worked. This year I haven't been as successful with that, but I was trying to put it out there because I knew somebody had one of the books on my list, and I was like trying to like encourage him to give it up because he has 2 copies of it. I'm like, come on, you can give one of them up.
I think the fortunate thing for me is I'm more into discovery still. When a person asked me one time, he said, "What's your grail?" And I said, "I'll know when I find it." Because for me, I work a lot. I'm really busy, so the way I wind down sometimes is I just maybe before I shut things down. I might spend about an hour or so just digging and researching. And I go back to some of my notes that I've had revisit notes and see where it takes me. I'll even go through some really, really old golden age books that I've kind of heard some references in, and see if I can find readable copies and see if those stories are there that people. So I do a lot of research. So for me, I'm still trying to find things that I don't even know might be there, because I know that.
Well, that's the problem. Like, I always say, oh, I got all the books I need, and then the next thing I'm like going down that rabbit hole where I'm finding, oh, that's a kind of a cool book. That's another cool book.
Yeah.
And now you've told me some cool books, and like that's going to lead me to other cool books. And it's like there's always something.
This is one, and I'll share on the show next. Is you've probably heard of this book, but this is one you definitely might want to add to your list.
Eben.
This book is called Eben. It came out in 1970. Now, actually, the book,
it looks almost like Golden Age style, I'll tell you the truth.
Yeah, so this is a fascinating book. This is the first independent title book, superhero title book. Came out in 1970. It predates a lot of superhero books, but it was an independent title. And it was created by a gentleman by the name of Larry Fuller, an amazing individual. I've had the pleasure to talk with him. Oh, okay. And still alive. And he created this book. And another amazing story about this book is that about 2-3 years or so ago, somebody found a production plate on eBay for issue number 2. Oh, wow. Now, this was a one-shot. Now, there was only 100 of these books printed. Only 100.
Wow. Wow.
I have a friend of mine that owns 10 of these.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, he's an Eben fanatic. Matter of fact, he worked with Larry Fuller to create these 1 in 100 Eben action figures.
Oh my goodness! Wow!
And they did an amazing job. Look at the artwork. So Larry Fuller actually signed these. Also, that's his signature.
Oh wow!
So he really befriended himself with Larry Fuller. He fell in love with the book, and so every time the book goes out, he pays a premium because he realizes there's only 100 of these ever printed.
So is he trying to get like all 100 copies or something crazy?
Well, if he could, he would, but more than likely, I don't know if there's probably 40 out there.
Yeah, because like how many would survive? And
right, how many would survive? Number one, the book was actually published in '69, even though it's going to say 1970, so it's actually 69 published book. So my guess is maybe there's probably somewhere around 40, 50 of these books. He has 10.
Yeah,
so which is absolutely ridiculous, but it's a very rare book, and it's a really, really historically significant book because not only was this his first book, he never had any experience in comics. So he literally took classes and learned how to do print production so he could actually produce this book. So he did this entire book just off a whim from scratch, writing it, piecing everything together. So about 3 or 4 years ago, someone found a production plate for an Eben number 2. And so we were like, wait a minute, this can't be real. Because
it was a
one shot. Yeah. So we reached out to Mr. Fuller and we was like, is this real? He's like, yeah, we actually started on a number 2, but we didn't finish. So he was working with a guy, and he said, obviously the guy is selling the production pieces. And so he was like, and when he was sharing the story with us, he was like, man, we could tell he really didn't want it to be sold. So a group of us got together in this group, and we all got together and we purchased the production plate for him, and we sent it to him as a gift.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
that's so nice. And
he was he just lost it, man. So that was a really cool thing we did.
Yeah, I mean that's like a one of a kind thing. It's like pretty awesome.
And he didn't want it to be sold. He was kind of upset that it was being sold. Something that he that he wished that he had, and when he expressed that. Some of us got together. A guy named Otis, he reached out to. He said, "Man, look, why don't we just all get together and just purchase this for him?" And that's what we did. So it was really cool. So, but that's a really, really good book to have. It's rare. Usually when it pops up, it'll sell for about at minimum, depending raw, it'll sell easily for about $1,500 to $2,000, which I think is still really cheap. But that's what it'll sell raw. Graded. Probably about $3,000, depending on the grade. That's pretty on average with itself, $2,000 to $3,000. So it's not a cheap book,
Yeah, well, when it's that rare.
Yeah, people know about it. So it's a pretty good book to have. And like we were talking about, and I know you got to go, but this is one. Since you have 2, you definitely get number So you got number 1, get number 2.
Yeah, I've been looking for it.
Yeah.
Actually, somebody, like, I lost though. Somebody had 1 and 2 as a set at auction, and I bid, and then I guess I didn't, somebody got that last second.
Yeah, that book. I know Puff wants that book, and you interviewed Puff. That's a book he's been trying to get.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of people. I know a lot of people reach out to me all the time because they've seen. I have, I think, 3 or 4 sets of that book of 1 and 2, and so a lot of people that have seen me post multiple sets, they ask me. I tell them
have a set that you can sell. Yeah.
Well, I tell them that a lot of times I buy multiple sets because I'm passing down certain books to my kids.
Okay.
And I want each one of them to have. I want each one of them to have.
No, that's good. That's
right. So a lot of times, like, I'm not trying to hoard the books. I gotta make sure that my kids can enjoy these books, and they don't have to fight over certain books. I don't want them fighting over
I can imagine that would be not a good.
That'd be crazy. So that's kind of what I do. So a lot of times it may look like I'm overbuying, but books that are kind of hard, if I can get, and I got those books early. I was buying Lobos, man. I mean, I was getting those books for close to $50 at one time.
I know it used to be a cheap book. Like the funny thing is, I had an opportunity to get it at that like $50 range.
Yeah. And
I didn't realize the significance of it. I didn't I thought, oh, there must be something earlier, but nope.
So one last thing. I know you said you had to leave at 11, but let me show you an amazing comic book that I'll share when we redo the. This is one of the most hard to find comic books, and this has been on Heritage Auction. This is actually the very first Black comic book ever. So I can move it over.
Oh yeah, let me make it big again.
This is this came out in 1902.
Oh, nice.
This is an actual comic book. Matter of fact, this is in the Library of Congress. I can even send you links of auction sites where it's listed as a Platinum Age comic book. Most importantly, if you go to Cover Price, which covers comic books, they have all the Buster Brown comic books from the same publisher in their database, but they don't have this book. I reached out to them. I was like, hey, I noticed you have those Buster Brown books that came out. Some came out even 2 or 3 years after this book. I think the earliest one they have on their comic Cover Price is like 1904. This one came out in 1902.
Wow.
And I said, you may want to add this book because it's a very, very rare book. Matter of fact, I've seen this comic book sell, beat up, torn to pieces, for $2,000. I'm talking like you can't even recognize the book, but everything's there. But it's just like ravished. Sometimes you can find individual pages on eBay selling anywhere between, depending on the condition, $25 to well over $100 just for the pages.
Wow.
So they can be as low as like $25, and sometimes they'll even go well over $100 just for the page. But this is an actual comic book. If you go to Michigan State University Library, is also in their library. They have a copy, and they have it categorized as a comic book as well. You go to a lot of auction sites, they list it as a Platinum Age comic book, and just historically, it's identified as a early Platinum Age comic book. Wow. So this is actually, for what we understand in history, until something else pops up, the very first Black character to ever be titled in a comic book.
And he's on the cover too, which is
awesome. On the cover too, right? Polo Mosi.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, so this predates everything, and it's hard to find. Even I'll send you some information on it. Even Heritage Auction sold one, I think 4 or 5 years ago, and even then it sold, I think, for close to $2,000 or something in that range, or just under. They even talked about not only how rare this book is, but how hard it is to find completed. This is probably one of the hardest books to find, and it's completed. And for me to have, I actually have 2 copies. Wow. This is my copy that's completed, like fully completed, intact, no tears, rips. It's like not missing pages, not loose. I have another completed copy, but it's pretty beat up. It doesn't, you can't flip the page like you can this one.
Yeah.
So to have 2.
I mean, it looks like it's in good shape.
This was in great shape. This is an amazing shape, and I was so fortunate to get this book. I can't believe what I got this book for. I don't think the guy knew what he had.
I mean, not many people would, right?
You want to know a book like this? You mostly find on auction sites, like antique auction sites. You don't really see them on eBay. And if you see them on eBay, it may be somebody that may have found some old, you know, maybe went to an antique
Yeah,
place
yeah, yeah.
or
They
something like
found some
that.
old
They don't
books.
really know.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
probably just think it's one of those Black Americana books, you know, something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
And they just say, okay, well, but that book right there, and remember, Occult is considered the godfather of modern comics. Also, people forget that. So he did the Buster Brown books, these books. He did some pretty stereotypical books. He did Yellow Man books, you know. He did
Yeah,
these
yeah,
books,
yeah.
stuff.
It's
But
a time. It's a time.
but now, believe it or not, even though, you know, if you look at the character, this is real isn't really a bad book. It's basically a book about it. It's an amazing story. Of course, you're gonna have that Southern vernacular.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But it's a book about this young kid going on these amazing adventures. He's hanging and chilling around with a bunch of animals and stuff like that. And everywhere he goes, he's documenting and he's writing these letters to his mom. Now, of course, it says letters to his mammy, but that's just how they spoke then. But it's an amazing comic. So, and also,
yeah, I always thought it was bad when they see it. People nowadays see that as racist when that's how people talk. That's how
they communicate it. It's you know, kind of like you were talking about. Yes, that's the way it is. And so, and it kind of one last thing. If you remember, Best Comics #1, which is an actual comic book as well, that was also a horror. It wasn't this big.
Yeah, it was like that weird horizontal.
Right, that was a horizontal comic book as well. Yeah. It's not as big as this.
Yeah,
so, so this is a comic book, man. So that's actually
cool.
The very first Black titled character in the comic.
Wow. And so that's awesome.
Yeah, 1902, which is crazy. So
that's crazy.
So I literally, I'll never forget when I first got my first copy. I had to piece it together. I had to go online, find all you know, you can find it all. You can go online and you had to print out. I bought every individual page.
Oh wow!
Separately. Then I was fortunate to find a beat up copy that had the cover and the back cover. So I just bought that so I could.
So you Frankensteined it and
Frankenstein everything together. And then after that, I was able to find this and watch this. I pay less money for this copy.
That's always what happens. It's
than my Frankenstein copy. So
it is.
It's good to have both copies in the collection.
Yeah,
so
that's so cool. Yeah. You know what? We actually have. If I cut it, we have a video here.
That's great. Yeah.
I actually want to do a part 2.
Okay.
Really, you know, still, I would love to interview you properly, where we actually do the questions and do it properly. But I'd like to use this. I think it's actually quite good.
Dude.
Right, so I'll just finish by saying, you know, I'm gonna do a little wrap up. Everyone, just go to check out Black Key Comics on both YouTube and on Instagram. I'll put the links in the description. He's an awesome guy. You've seen what we've been talking about. We had a pretty cool time. I really, really appreciate you coming on the channel, and you're coming back. So
yeah. Thanks for having me.
There might be like multiple parts involved because it's always a good conversation.
This was fun. I know we had, you know,
technical difficulties.
Technical difficulties, but this it's always great talking comics, and it's just a pleasure to be on your channel. I love your channel. I watch your channel constantly. So hopefully one day I can have a collection that comes similar to yours. But
you have some pretty cool books. Like, you don't put your collection down.
Well, coming from you, I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
You make me like jealous. Okay, so I
okay. Well, I'll take that. That's a huge compliment. Thank you.
So thanks again, and bye for now.
All right, take care. Have a great day.
Wait.